Man, one of my favorite stories from last year. The old cop that got around the entire station. Old Officer Hall from Tennessee. Y'all remember this? This was what, January of 2023 stuff? Oh man, this was before all of the craziness of Bud Light. And I thought that this was going to be peak 2023, but who knew how crazy it was going to end up getting. But here we are, a little over a year later, figuring out that, oh yeah, right, all of those misogynists that were online were 1000% correct. That she was just simply looking for a bag at the end of this, maximizing her hoedom in order to get one final payout before she could just move on to her next round of victims. I mean, every time, right? Ex-Tennessee cop Maegan Hall, fired over, yes, a tryst with 6 other officers, settles a federal lawsuit that will cost the city a whopping $500,000. $500,000 for her to elicit a train being run on her in the Tennessee precinct. Do you think those other officers that were also fired and suspended, do you think that they're going to get any of that $500,000? Yeah, I don't think so. A former Tennessee cop who got axed for her tryst with 6 other officers on the job has settled her federal lawsuit against her former employer for a whopping $500,000. Imagine that. She just wanted to speak up for victims. I'm just here to say that the city took advantage of... Oh, right, you're writing me a check. Five zeros? 5 zeros after that? Okay, fine, fantastic. Okay, no further questions. I got to go to the bank. Maegan Hall, who claimed that she was groomed by a cadre of male colleagues on the force, sued the city of Laverne last year after word of her raunchy romps made international headlines. On Wednesday, the Laverne board voted 3-1 at a special meeting to settle the lawsuit. Unbelievable, man. Take that to trial and then put that felonious hag on her back. Place that she's very much accustomed to be. The Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen voted tonight to authorize the mayor to sign a settlement agreement between the city of Laverne and former police officer Maegan Hall. City leaders wrote in a statement, according to the outlet. Unbelievable. The agreement was negotiated between the attorneys representing the city and Hall. The statement said the city's insurance provider will pay the sum of $500,000 to Hall as a gross settlement, which includes court costs, attorney's fees, and expenses. So she filed this lawsuit after she got fired for sucking off the entire staff because she cried a little bit. Gets a $500,000. Wow. Can't believe that. City denies any admission of liability and no taxpayer funds will be spent to settle the lawsuit. Yeah, just the insurance that the taxpayers have to pay for. Okay, cool. Right, yeah. All 28. Oh, wow. It just always happens to be in on and around 30 years old that all of these lawsuits of exploits in earlier life just managed to pop up. Weird how that continues to happen. Made national headlines last year after a station house, say sexcapades, I say escapades, whatever, went public, including affairs with her supervisor, Sergeant, don't want to diminish his rank, Lewis Powell, and others, according to an internal investigation. Did they really go in there? Hall hooked up with several colleagues, sent them nude pictures, and went topless in a Girls Gone Wild themed hot tub party, but she gets $500,000. Yeah, really looks like she was put under a bunch of undue stress and even performed, yes, like I said, man, would have thought that she was working at a firehouse for how many poles she polished on 2 cops while on duty. Wow. She also allegedly had a threesome with one of the cops and his wife, according to the city's report, and she gets $500,000. Keep on driving that home. It is her style, after all. Hanky Panky cost several of the male cops their jobs, including Powell. Shocking investigation reports included finding the then police chief Burrell Chip Davis, who was fired over the scandal, not only knew about Hall's hookups, but joked about the situation with the other city. Yep, who dat? Davis allegedly said and shown a vulgar photo of Hall by another cop, Ty McGowan, the investigation found. Well, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh yeah, take a look at this. It's like, wow, who is that? And it's like, yeah, that's one of your officers. Like, oh, god damn it. Why? Hall, Lewis, McGowan replied. He on it again. Chief quipped. The ex-top cop joked about 13-minute video that allegedly showed Hall, yo, which was shared among some of the male cops inside the department. And again, She got $500,000 for doing all of this stuff. Just take a look. There's another prominent lawsuit that's out there asking for a heck of a lot of money as well, involving certain powerful men that may or may not have had a cop gimmick or two at a time, showing a bunch of other explicit photos. But yeah, no, all of a sudden, now that they're hitting a certain age and no longer as viable as they once were because they have to answer for a very lascivious past. You know, I'm talking about the Vince McMahon, Janelle Grant situation. Oh yeah, exactly. Seems analogous, huh? Basically, it seems like, yeah, from that picture right there, yeah, that's Patrick McGolico. I thought that was the guy who hosted the hot tub party. And then, yeah, Lewis Powell, that's right there. So apparently the only person that's on the force right now that she didn't have a tryst with is probably the dog. In her lawsuit, Hall claimed that the encounters began with an affair with Powell. Shouldn't that be disqualifying in the lawsuit to begin with? You entered into a consensual relationship, engaging in adultery while your cuck husband, I don't know, fixed the snack tray and led to others in the department targeting her until she gave in to their advances. Right. So you targeted a married man and then other married men went in and you were like, as long as I don't have to pay for any drinks. I know what most people are saying, she said during the first public comment about the scandal in March of 2023. You know, I could have said no, I get it. But my response to them is I did say no and Powell wouldn't take no for an answer. Eventually, I gave in to the pressure. Right. I bet you were coerced. Exactly. Hall's lawyer, Wesley Clark, said last year that the young ex-cop never had a chance. Oh my God, I hate lawyers so much. Maegan wasn't looked at like a rookie cop to be trained and promoted. She was looked at like a piece of meat to be sexualized and exploited, which is why I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we're doing dumb stuff like this to invite more Maegan Halls onto the staff. Coming from the same state, different department, obviously. Nashville Police Department drops ability test requirements in order to increase its female force from 13 to 30%. Minneapolis Police Department will also allow more flexible working schedules in addition to the pre-existing maternity leave and sick days. That's great. Okay, listen, guys, I'm sure that the police chief or the captain will have to come out and they'll have to say, listen, criminals, please don't commit any crimes on Tuesday and Thursday next week, because we're not going to have enough officers on duty because, you know, we have flexible schedules around here. Director Tiffany Gibson is the first female director of training for the Minneapolis Police Department. Well, let's just go ahead and listen to some of this here real quick because it's only a minute.
It's a male-dominated profession, so women are scared to take that step, maybe thinking that they're not able to do it, but you can do it if you have that right mindset.
It's a mindset.
Yeah, that's so fantastic. Yeah, we can do it. This is just going to lead to, and it's so funny, yeah, this is in Minneapolis. For a couple years back, you had Officer Kim Potter. She'll actually be getting out of jail, I think, at the end of this year. It's things like this. It's giving authority to people that can not physically impose it, but rather have to rely on their gimmicks as a police officer. This is going to result in more people getting shot because of untrained, unqualified, unphysically imposing individuals. I've said this loudly and proudly multiple times. So I'm 6'6", 210. I want police officers that could arrest me if I had a screw loose, if I decided to completely spurg out in society. I want police officers that could arrest me if they weren't in uniform. People that could apprehend me because I'm a reasonably physically imposing individual. While I'm a generally peaceful person, I know that other people aren't going to be. And if we want the best and brightest, the fittest people out there to serve and protect society, I want to have lower standards. I want to have higher standards. I want to have better trained standards. But no. We need diversity in policing, which just means more tasers being mistaken, more shots being fired, less confidence in police departments.
That the Metro Police Department hopes more women will have. Their goal, a 30% female police force. Last year, it was 11%. This year, it's 13%.
Yeah, but why? Oh, I was saying Minneapolis. I'm sorry. I guess this would have been Metro Nashville? Yeah, Metro Nashville. Okay, that's what MN is. I thought it was Minneapolis. My mistake. So yeah. And why? Okay, we need 11%. We have 11% female cops right now. We need 30. Why? Just Just why? But the entire push for women in the workforce was to have meritocracy. If a woman wanted to be a police officer, she would become a police officer. Now we're just, picking chicks off of the side of the road, and it's like, hey, you want to be a nurse? No, you can't. We have enough nurses that are over there. We need 30% females on the force, so instead of tending to wounds, you can go ahead and deliver them.
And is it even attainable?
I think we're definitely growing, so if we can just keep that momentum going, I believe that it is definitely attainable.
Commander Tiffany Gibson is Metro's first female director of training. She says among the biggest changes they've made to help attract recruits, especially women.
Yeah, which is so fantastic. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's just going to be a bunch of guys, dragging stuff around the floor, not being able to do pull-ups, not being able to properly chase down suspects. But no, definitely train them on how to properly radio over to their partner, somebody who can accurately pick up the slack, but won't be receiving equitable compensation for that. At a time when police officers are being righted on both sides of the aisles. I mean, take a look at what's happening in New York City right now. The fact that they're being forced doesn't really look like they're having to twist their arm very much to evict people who own homes because squatters have found a way to work their way in and steal people's homes. Kind of looks like something that's happening halfway around the world, but that's another topic for another time. We're having people that unironically back the blue now taking a step back and going, wow, they're just out there enforcing all these tyrannical policies without a second thought, huh? Wow, weird. Why is that happening? That's a little bit suspect. And then the people who just generally hate the police and all they stand for to begin with. So this is just more a way to drive a wedge between the people that would normally support the police officers and the people coming in and destroying any appreciation and reverence they would normally have for the force. I really hope. I see a light at the end of the tunnel and many other avenues where, you know what, hey, eventually this woke stuff is going to get too much for people. But when it comes to seeing policies like this and the overt push in order to get women more involved in places that they generally don't want to get involved in, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it's policies like this and it's payouts like this. That means that we're still going to be in for it for a very, very long time. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.